Good morning, students. In the last video, we did introduction about derivatives and forwards and future contracts. Today, we will be doing pricing of futures, how futures are priced. Regarding future contract, we did that future is an exchange traded contract to buy or sell an underlying asset at a specified price in future, right? It is a transferable future delivery contract where the parties to the contract, they can transfer the rights and obligations under the contract to a third party. We did that futures are traded on recognized stock exchanges. In future contracts, the parties decide to exchange the underlying asset in future at the predetermined rate, and these contracts are transferable contracts. That means if before maturity any of the party wants to transfer the contract, this can be transferred to some other party, right? Regarding types of futures, two types of futures broadly can be there: index futures and stock futures. From the name itself, it is clear index futures, they have some index as underlying asset. That index may be Nifty, that may be Sensex, it may be BSC 500, BSC top 100. Any index can be underlying asset. So index futures, they derive their value from the value of underlying asset. Whenever there is movement in the index upward or downward, accordingly the parties, they make profit or losses. Suppose index is moving upward, then buyer of index future will gain and seller will lose, and vice versa is applicable. Lot size in case of index future is 100 units, and contract size, it depends upon the value of the index. Suppose Sensex future is there, and suppose value of Sensex is 31,000. So for one lot, the contract size will be 31,000 into 100 units of Sensex. That means the contract will have value of 31 lakhs, right? Maturity period usually can be 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. 1 month contract, future contract, is called near contract. 2 months contract is called next or middle contract. And 3 months contract, it is called distant or far contract, and the contract can be settled on or before the maturity date by entering into squaring of transactions. What are offsetting or squaring of transactions? These are exactly opposite transactions which we enter on the maturity date to cash settle the future contract for difference. This we have already done in the last video. Regarding stock futures, here underlying asset is some individual share. So stock future will derive its value from the value of the underlying share. In case of stock futures, the lot size as such is not specified. Many a times stock exchange specifies the value of the contract, and depending upon price of the share, the lot size is determined. Suppose lot size is 2 lakh, contract size specified by the stock exchange is 2 lakh rupees, and the price of the share at present is 100 rupees. In that situation, the lot size will be 2 lakh divided by 100, that means 2000 units will be the lot size, right? Duration again can be 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, and contract accordingly will be called near contract, next contract, and far contract. The future contracts, they expire on last Thursday of the month. So on last Thursday of the month, final settlement of the future contract is done. Otherwise, on day-to-day basis, daily marking to market is done. But final settlement will be on last Thursday of the month. Now regarding pricing of a future contract, pricing means usually determination of the price at which future will be traded in the market, right? From pricing, two meanings can be there: market price or fair price. Market price is the actual price of the future, at which it is being traded in the market, and definitely market price is found by demand and supply forces in the market. But for making investment decision, we require fair price of the future or theoretical price of the future. This is nothing but intrinsic value of the future, and it is found using cost of carry model. Cost of carry is nothing but cost of holding the underlying asset or share over the life of the future. We can take one example to understand what is cost of carry. Let us take example of commodity future. In case of commodity future, the underlying asset is some commodity. Now, suppose the commodity is sold today. In that situation, seller is getting the price today. Seller can reinvest the money. He can earn interest on that. But if it is future contract, then seller will be getting price at the time of maturity of the contract, that means in future. So he is losing interest because of this future contract. So what he will be doing, he will be charging this interest amount from the buyer. So in future he will be charging higher price. In cash price, spot price today, he will be adding financing cost. One more implication is there, that is storage cost. Now he will have to store the commodity for this period, for the period of future. That means he will be incurring storage cost also. So he will be charging this cost again from the buyer. So future price will be cash price plus financing cost per unit plus storage cost per unit. Suppose the value of the asset today, price of the asset today is 100 rupees, and prevailing rate of interest is 12% per annum. Storage cost per unit is rupee 0.5, that means 50 paisa per month. In that situation, future price can be calculated if we are assuming simple rate of interest. 100 rupees plus 1 month interest on 100 rupees, that means rupee 1 interest, and storage cost per unit per month, this is 0.5. So after 1 month, if this commodity is to be sold, price charged will be 101.5. So for near month future contract, the price is 101.5. If it is 2 months future, then 2 months interest, 2 rupees interest, and 2 months storage cost. So price of the future is 103, and for 3 months future, the price will be 104.5. Here we are calculating interest using simple interest formula, but in practical life, compounding of interest is there. So we use E values for calculating compounded interest. In case of financial future, where underlying asset is financial asset, storage cost will not be there. So future price will include only financing cost per unit, but this financing cost is adjusted for investment income. If because of future contract, buyer is losing some investment income, in that situation, that is to be deducted from the price of the future, right? So in pricing of financial future, we try to find fair price of the future on the basis of these factors. Factors are current or spot price of the underlying asset, risk-free rate of interest, maturity period of the future, and return expected from the underlying asset. On this basis, we calculate fair price using cost of carry model, and then fair price is compared with the market price to see if future is overpriced or underpriced or efficiently priced. If fair price is more than the market price, then future is underpriced future, it should be purchased. But if fair price is less than market price, this is overpriced future, such future should not be purchased. If market price and fair prices are same, then we say future is efficiently priced future. We can take specific cases of pricing of future contract using continuous compounding. I have already told in practical life, continuous compounding formula is used. Three situations can be there. We are doing pricing of financial future where underlying asset is a share. Now, suppose in this share, no dividend payment is involved during the time period of the future, no dividend payment is there, then simply by multiplying spot price with the e raised to rt, we can calculate the future price. This is done. This is multiplied with this amount to adjust it for cost of carry, right? So S into e raised to rt, continuous compounding is being assumed. This formula will give you the future price. Here S is the spot price, R is the risk-free rate of interest, and T is the time of future contract. But formula will change if dividend payment is involved. I have already told, if buyer is losing dividend because of this future contract, then he will be paying lesser amount, lesser price for this future contract. Suppose the time period of future is 3 months. That means instead of buying share today, the buyer will be buying share after 3 months. And it is expected that after 1 month, company will pay some dividend. Buyer will not be getting this dividend because he will be getting shares only after 3 months. So he is the loser here. He is losing this dividend amount. Present value of this dividend amount will be deducted from the spot price. He will be paying lesser price for this future, right? So for calculation of future price here, what we do, we deduct from the spot price the present value of dividend amount. Remaining things are same. S minus D, D is the present value of dividend. How this is calculated? We calculate this by multiplying amount of dividend with the present value factor, because continuous compounding is there. For calculating present value, we use e raised to minus rn. C, for compounding, we use e raised to rt. And for discounting, we use e raised to minus r. Instead of t, I am using n. N is the time period when dividend payment is expected. So I gave you example where after 1 month dividend payment is expected. So this T will be 3 months time period of future, and N will be 1 month. From the date of contract till the date of expected payment, 1 month period is there. So for calculation of present value of dividend, we will be using 1 month, right? Present value of dividend is D into e raised to minus Rn, and N is time gap between date of dividend and date of entering into contract. So in this situation, future price will be lesser as compared to the first situation where no dividend is involved. If in the question dividend yield is given, directly percentage of dividend is given, then this can be deducted directly from risk-free rate of interest. Y is the dividend yield. So e raised to r minus y into t, using this formula, you can calculate future price of the dividend. You can straight away deduct the yield from the risk-free rate of interest. So three situations of future price calculation, they are there in your syllabus. If in any of the situation transaction cost is involved, simply deduct transaction cost from the calculated future price, right? So if in any of these three situations transaction cost is given, this is to be deducted from the future price. So if first situation is there, no dividend payment situation is there, from this you can deduct the transaction cost. If transaction cost is given in percentage, to calculate the amount, multiply this with the spot price. This will give you transaction cost in money, in value. This is to be deducted from future price. We can do some questions. This is first situation question. Consider a future contract on a non-dividend paying share. That means no dividend payment is involved, which is available at rupees 70. 70 is the spot price, and the price, the future will mature in 3 months time. Risk-free rate of interest is 8% per annum, compounding continuously. Find the price of the future. if this future is available for rupees 72, that means market price of the future is 72, should an investor buy it? So for answering this question, you need to calculate fair price of the future. First situation, spot price 70, time period 3 months, risk-free rate of interest 8%. Using this formula, you can calculate fair price of the future, 70 into e raised to 3% risk-free rate, so 3 by 12. This 3 months period is there, so 3 by 12 into risk-free rate of interest 0.08, right? This E value will be given to you in the examination, because for calculation of E value, either scientific calculator or tables are required. Tables for many a times E values, all E values are not there. So E values should be given in the question paper itself. Using the value of E, fair price of the future is coming out to be 71.41. The market price of the future is 72. That means this future is overpriced future. Investor should not buy this future, right? One more question. The market price of a share is rupees 50 and the company is expected to declare a dividend of rupees 10 after 1 month. Dividend payment is involved and dividend amount is given to you. What should be the future price of a 3 months future contract if continuously compounded risk-free rate is 12% per annum? Spot price rupees 50, time period 3 months, risk-free rate of interest given 12% per annum, expected dividend rupees 10, and time period after which dividend is likely to be declared is 1 month, right? First thing to be done is calculation of present value of dividend. Present value of dividend can be calculated using this formula, amount of dividend into e raised to minus Rn, e raised to minus risk-free rate of interest is 12%, so 0.12, and n is 1 month, 1 by 12. So e raised to minus 0.01, its value is 0.990. So present value of dividend is coming out to be 9.9. If after 1 month the dividend paid is rupees 10, its present value is 9.9. This is to be deducted from spot price for calculation of future price. Spot price 50, from this deduct present value of dividend, e raised to r. R is 12%, so 0.12, and future time period is 3 months, 3 by 12. Using this value of E, the future price is 41.32. So likely price of the future is, or fair price of the future is 41.32. If market price differs from this, then you need to check whether it is overpriced or underpriced future, and accordingly investment decision is to be made, right? Sometimes in question lot size is given. In the previous questions, we calculated future value for one future, one unit. But if contract is for 100 shares, then accordingly for 100 shares, you need to calculate. So one question on this, find value of 6 months future. That means time period T is 6 months on future contract on 100 shares. That means size of the contract is 100 shares with a price of rupees 38 each. Spot price of the share is 38 per share. The risk-free rate of interest continuously compounded is 10% per annum. R is 10% per annum. The share in question is expected to yield a dividend of rupees 1.5. See, amount of dividend is given rupees 1.5. So second situation is applicable here also. And this dividend is expected to be declared after 4 months from now. That means small n, time period to dividend is 4 months. These things are given in the question. First, calculate present value of the dividend using this formula. You are multiplying it with 100 to find present value of dividend for 100 shares. 1.5 per share dividend is there. So 1.5 into 100 you can do, or calculate the value and multiply this with 100. Any way you can calculate. Present value of dividend on 100 shares is 145.08. Deduct this from the spot price. Spot price for 38 shares is 3800 minus dividend, present value of dividend for 100 shares, and then simply e raised to RT. Future price is coming out to be 3842.31. This is for one lot of 100 shares. So future price, fair price of the future, it can be calculated for one unit or it can be calculated for a lot of shares. Now using future contract, hedging of risk can be done. How this hedging is done? Usually इस पर question आ जाता है. Hedging of risk by entering into future contract. We can do one example on that. An investor buys 300 shares of Z Limited at the rate of 210. It should be 210 per share in the cash market. In order to hedge, he sells 200 futures of Z Limited at the rate of rupees 195 each. The share price and the future price decline by 5% and 3% the very next day. He closes his position by counter transactions in both the markets, find out his net profit or loss. So investor is entering into transactions in cash market as well as in future market. See, this is a mistake. Per annum, in place of per annum, read it per share, right? So in the cash market, he is buying 300 shares at the rate of 210 per share. Now, if in the cash market price reduces, he will lose, right? Because he will have to sell shares in future at a lower price. So he will be loser in the cash market. But if in future market, he is now selling, in future, he will be buying at the lower price. Buying at lower, selling at higher price. That means in future market, he will be gaining. So if he takes opposite position in future market, he can hedge his risk, right? In cash market, he has purchased 300 shares at the rate of 210 per share. That means his purchase price is 63,000. After one day, the price of the share has reduced by 5% in cash market. So new price is 199.5. He will be squaring off his position by selling the shares in cash market. So selling price will be 300 into 199.5. This is 59,850 in the cash market. He is losing 3150. 3,150 is loss in cash market. Let us check his position in future market. In future market, he has taken a short position. That means he has sold 200 futures at 195 per share. After one day, the price is reduced by 3%. This should be 3%. 3% reduction, say the price will be 189.5. 3% reduction, 189.5 will be the price. So let us check his position. Selling price is 200 into 195, 39,000. Purchase price is 200 into 189.15, 37,830. His gain is 1170, right? So in future market, because of price reduction, he is gaining. Let us check his net position in both the markets. Loss in cash market 3150, gain in future market 1170. His net loss is 1980. Suppose he has not entered into the future transaction, his loss would have been 3150. By entering into future contract, he has reduced his loss by 1170, right? So in this way, by entering into future transactions, the investor can hedge his risk. But keep this thing in mind: if you want to do proper hedging, then option contract is the best option. Future contract may price may fall or it may rise. Suppose in this situation price rises. If price rises, then purchase price will be on higher side, and the person will have to perform the contract at higher price also. Loss would have been there, right? So in future, possibility of gain as well as loss is there depending upon the price movement. In option contract, if price movement is unfavorable, option holder has the option not to go by the contract. That means contract will lapse in that situation. He will not be exercising his option in that situation. His loss will be limited to the amount of option premium. So for proper hedging of risk, option contract is a better way. Otherwise, by entering into future contract, you can hedge your risk in a limited way, right? This is regarding future pricing of future. You can try questions on pricing from the book.